And coming to us from the Mini Winnie, Bruce Poppy in the convoy. And we saw you in that clip, Bruce. We saw your Winnebago there.
Yep, I was the last RV in the line. It was
not
the
having any
bigger
audio
trucks,
from Bruce.
and they
Let's see. Is Bruce muted?
Not muted.
No, not hearing Bruce. Try again, Bruce.
How about now?
Yep, there we are. We hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, so in that clip, I was the last RV in the line of RVs, the little mini Winnebago. But that looked like it was amazing. It's just been so much fun. When we drove into Dripping Springs on Wednesday night, there was a ton of people. It was like 10:30, almost 11 o'clock at night when we arrived. There was probably 200 or 300 people waiting for us there. So we spent the night, had a little rally, spent the night. I ended up leaving yesterday morning to head towards Yuma, Arizona. So yesterday morning, so last night, every day's getting confused anymore. Last night, they had a rally in Dripping Springs that had over 1,000 people there. Ted Nugent came out and played the Star Spangled Banner and gave a speech. Lara Logan was there, and she was, giving them hell. Ann Vandersteel and Michael Jan were also there last night. Nice. I wasn't there personally, but I was watching some of the live stream. Mm-hmm. So it was a fantastic event there in Dripping Springs that I caught while I was driving to Las Cruces, is where I spent the night. They had, when I arrived, I was, I'm kind of like a forward advanced scout, if you will, kind of left out ahead of everybody. So I'm traveling as a convoy of one. And when we arrived at the Speedway in Las Cruces, they had a party set up there, a stage. They had Coy Griffin was there. There was a couple other politician guys local playing music. They had all kinds of food. It was a grand party last night. And we woke up this morning. Now we're headed to Yuma. I'm actually coming through Tucson, Arizona right now. And we'll be in Yuma probably by 6:30, 7 o'clock tonight.
That's amazing. And how are you enjoying the journey?
It's been great. It's been fun. It's been, tiring, spending close to 10, 12 hours a day on the road and then sleeping fast. But, it's encouraging, like you saw in the clip, the people that we've seen as we're pulling into places for gas, as we're driving down the road, overpasses had people on them. On the side of the road in rest areas, there's people, waving flags. We're honking as we're going around. Even me, as a convoy of one, there have been 2 or 3 overpasses that I've driven under. There's been a Patriot up there holding a flag, so I don't know if what they're waiting. I'm not sure if people are leaving later from Texas or coming through later to show up for the event tomorrow. So I think that's what's kind of happening. Is there people are having to work for a living, and then they're driving out or getting together and caravanning down later tonight or first thing in the morning to be at the event in Yuma, Arizona tomorrow.
It's going to be a big event. I know so many of the Truth Tour alumni are going to be down there as well.
Yes, yeah. Michael Jaco and Louis Herms are already there.
Yep.
Louis called me asking what time we were arriving. We see if we can have dinner, and I don't know if they can wait for me to get there because they're hungry. You know how Louis and them like to eat. And then I'm curious too. A question for you. I was listening to X Spaces. There was somebody talking about there's just some crazy torrential rain happening down around San Diego, like flash flooding and all kinds of stuff. And the guy was concerned about the event that's happening in California and San Ysidro tomorrow. Do you think that weather, or what's going on there about where you are with the weather?
We had about 2 inches of rain in the last 2 days. The water had crested over the roads, but it has receded because today has only been like scattered showers, not that much. Tomorrow's supposed to be actually fairly clear. And then Sunday we get hit with the next storm, and that's going to go for 5 days, and it's going to interrupt my ability to be here in the studio because I can't get here from the house because the roads that I take, the only road that comes here, they'll probably be washed out at that point.
Yeah. Having been to your place when we were on the Truth Tour, and when there's lots of rain, you can't. There's no real ingress or egress out of your position.
Correct. And either direction, north or south. So we're stuck in the middle of it. And I can't get from the house, which is only about 2 miles from here, to where the studio is. It's about a 2 mile drive, but yeah, the roads are impassable at that point, and they're dangerous to pass. The water comes rushing so fast. We've had people drown. We've had their cars pushed off the road into the river, and they drown. It's crazy. But you
I know
to
that's
stay
what
away from it.
this guy Nick said. He's seen cars on his street just kind of get swept away through
Yep.
like a flash flood.
Yep.
He lives in the valley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it'll be okay tomorrow. So for San Ysidro, you should be fine weather-wise. And like I said, it'll kick in again. They're saying now Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is going to be the worst of it, and then it's going to taper off toward the end of the week. So we're expecting 5+ inches of rain. That is a lot of rain in a very short space of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit at a disadvantage concerning our show today. So I just been hyper focused on driving and all of this stuff. I haven't been keeping a real close tab on anything going on in the news. So this little thing we're doing here, so long as I have signal, it's going to be informative for me as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you're hanging out because I was, planning to go solo today. Bruce and I had discussed, so everyone knows, we had discussed maybe not doing a show on Friday because Bruce obviously is on the road. And then I woke up this morning and I said, no, I have to do a show. Also, to let you guys know, the most important part is that tomorrow we'll be streaming all day on these channels as well. We're going to be streaming the rallies from the convoys. We're going to be picking up the feeds as we can. We're trying to get a direct feed, but if we can't, we'll just pick it up online, and then you won't have to jump from channel to channel to find it. We're just going to have it in one place, and I'll be hosting throughout the day on that. So Lewis and I are working out the details along with Bruce. Bruce is going to, like you said, it's going to be in Yuma, and Kevin, the buzzer guy, is going to be there operating a camera for us. So it's possible we can pull a feed from him, and we'll have our own camera and not have to rely on anything else. We'll have a direct feed to our station as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I'm excited about the entire day tomorrow. I can't wait to get there and start getting set up. That's one of the things I love to do.
Can you feel, Bruce, the energy? We played that clip of the convoy, and you could see the energy is building. Of course, when you started in Jacksonville, Florida, it was very small. I think it was 10 cars. And now the thing is building. It's well over 100 cars plus, and more and more joining all the time. Certainly at the rally points, there's a lot of people showing up. Not so much maybe on the convoy itself, but certainly at the rally points, people are showing up. Are you feeling the energy?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, when we were in Dripping Springs, it was electric. I mean, it was reminiscent. Brought me back to when I was on the People's Convoy a couple of years ago, going to D.C. Just rolling into Dripping Springs. Like I said, it was almost 11 o'clock at night. It was pretty chilly, especially for this old Florida boy. But when we rolled, they were there. They had been there for a while, waiting for us. They had vendor tents and stuff set up. So when we rolled in, everybody greeted us. We had a little pep rally there. We had all the organizers, Richard Agee, Craig Hutchins, who drove, from Virginia Beach, YG, I think his name is, YG Nightstorm, I think he goes by that. And there's another guy, Josh. He's was a Navy chaplain. So they all spoke, and then I actually, because I told them, they made the announcement that I was going to be leaving early, and anybody wanted to go to Yuma could follow me. So I jumped up and, said a couple words and encouraged people to follow if they wanted to come. Most people had already driven 3 days and were wanting to stay in Texas. Because here said, that Ted Nugent was going to be at the event last night. And so the people had a choice. They could stay in Texas and go hang out with Ted Nugent, or jump in the car and drive 2 more days and follow me. So most people decided to stay back for Ted Nugent. And I'm guessing some are, because, like I said earlier, coming along and be showing up, Saturday morning at the event.
You are a warrior, my friend. You are a warrior for sure. Be out there and doing this.
It's both of us. It's a team effort. Mrs. Pompey's in the car here with me as well. She's my navigator, co-pilot.
Everybody loves Mrs. Poppy. You know that. Everybody loves Natalie.
Yes. What's not to love?
I'm telling you, I haven't found anything yet. She's amazing. Yes. Thank you, Natalie, for all you're doing, supporting our boy Bruce here. We appreciate it. Okay. Do you want to jump into the Terra Bull Top 10?
Yes, let's do that.
You probably don't know all of the things that have been going on this week. It's been a harrowing week out there in the real world. Being on the convoy, you kind of get detached from it a little bit, and all this patriotism and love and all this music. It's just really great. So there's Dr. Drew. He's an interesting fellow because he's now changed his tune. He's been a lifelong things, coming out of mass media, basically a narrative supporter. And he now credits RFK Jr. with his personal awakening. And he says, I'm open to anything now. And I have a 2-minute clip of here. You can see the transition. It's quite telling. And in this time of convoy, it makes a whole lot of sense. Watch this. Okay. So real quick, what he's talking about there is we always talk about, Bruce, that people wake up the moment that whatever is going on lands in their lap. And here's a fellow who didn't even know there was censorship going on because his point of view was fine, was never being interfered with. Until the Twitter files started to go out, and all of a sudden you start to see, wait a minute, there's a lot of craziness going on. There's a lot of censorship, and now he finds himself completely on our side, fighting for freedom, for gosh sakes.
It's mind-blowing. That is super exciting.
Yes.
Because he's been one of those middle-of-the-road kind of guys, right? And he has a huge influence, right?
Yep.
There's tons of people. Look, I mean, Dr. Drew, all you got to do is Dr. Drew, it's like Oprah. Everybody knows Dr. Drew, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, and that just shows you how important that Elon, those Twitter files. So those Twitter files are huge in waking tons of people up. So I applaud Dr. Drew for kind of stepping over onto our side.
And for coming out in public and actually saying it is really fascinating, too, from that perspective, because here's a guy, who has been a lifelong Democrat. And all of a sudden he talks to RFK Jr. Now, RFK Jr., he's an interesting fellow, right? He's very much on our side on some topics, not so much on others. I mean, lifelong Democrat. But if you look at it, the divide between the Democrats and Republicans is actually now shrinking. It's going the other direction. It's not expanding as it has been in years past. And now we're minority.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think my signal is waning. I jumped from 5G to 4G as I'm moving out of Tucson, so I might drop at any second. But if I do, hey, thanks for all the support and love, and we'll see a bunch of people tomorrow in Yuma. And we'll be back at it beginning of the week next week.
Yes, we will. We've got a lot to do, and it's going to be a busy week. I don't know what my week's going to look like. I'm planning to be working all day, but with this rain coming in, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Number 9 is police believe 4 of the migrants arrested in the cop beatdown fled on a bus from New York to California, one sanctuary state to the other. Remember, they were arrested, and Alvin Bragg let them go. Anybody? It's just like, yeah.
So I mean that is. I mean, if we could fix one thing, because there's so many things wrong going on right now. If we could just get to them uphold the laws that are currently on the books. They're always we need to reform immigration. We need all these new laws. No. Just need to enforce the laws that are on the books. Do your job. Uphold your oath. That's the bottom line. If we can do that, now a train is going by. If you can hear that.
No, I didn't hear it actually. It's very good.
But it's crazy. He's going down, man. All these people, Fannie Willis, Letitia James, all these people are going crashing and burning. Everything's falling apart. So it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, we're going to talk about all the court cases that are falling apart around Trump. The golden boomerang strikes again. Capitol Police, number 8, will not press charges against the staffer who filmed in the Senate office building. Not going to be charged. But the J6ers who went in and actually prayed and did positive things and were very respectful are getting these very, very harsh sentences, sometimes 4 years, 8 years. Some got 11 years or more for doing nothing. So when you look at this, you go, okay, so here we are in a situation where, again, we have, two justice systems. We have the justice system that is for our side, which is very harsh against us, and the justice system on the other side, which is basically non-existent. It's almost like, we talked about this before, the Democrats seem to be a protected class, right? They don't seem to go after each other. They seem to protect each other. They circle the wagons, and since they have their hands on levers of control in a lot of areas, they don't get arrested. Nancy Pelosi should have been tried for treason a long time ago. Should never been elected. Should never be even qualified to have been running for president of all the things that he's done. I mean, the list is as long as your arm, and the things he's done that are illegal against the law, nothing's happened. Trump makes a phone call and they impeach him. Just to give you an idea, right? The contrast is crazy. It's really, 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 really off. So the question then becomes for you and I is to look at this. It's okay, so where's it going to go? And I think what's going to end up happening before very long is all this starts to flip, and we're starting to see it. And I've got some stories I'm going to share with you as we go through the process here today of things flipping, and you can see how they flip. And it's really fascinating to see how quickly, things are turning around. We're looking for that tipping point. When do the good guys start winning? They're going to start winning, guys. We are already begun to win. Small wins, but enough small wins add up to something. And it's starting to add up to something now. And I think, we keep talking about March as being the tipping point. I know it's hard to put a pin in the calendar and know exactly when. But I got to tell you, March is 3.5 weeks away. It's not too far-fetched to think, maybe something could happen here. It's interesting. So keep an eye on this. I'm wondering about Bragg, too. One of the comments that I had when I watched that video earlier today, with him not commenting and just going straight on and not paying attention to the reporters, I'm wondering if he has been put up to it. If you're threatened and he's in that position and you do what we tell you to do or else. And he's just playing the role. And he doesn't have anything to say. What can he say? He can't say anything. Letting these kids off after beating up a cop, and it was on video. You've seen the videos of it. Not cool. But he let him off. And now he won't answer to the media. Okay. Number 7, 150 Democrats vote no on a bill to deport illegal immigrants for DUI. This is interesting because they're trying to pass this bill to say, okay, if an immigrant, illegal, and by the way, I got to tell you this. They say, don't call them illegals. Well, what else are you going to call them? They're here illegally. Then I thought about it for a while. I'm like, are they here illegally if they were invited in, if they paid them, if they flew them and they bussed them? Are they really here illegally? They may have something there. They may not be illegals. They may be unwanteds, right? From our side, the other side needs them. That's why they will not do anything. And you look at this, 150 Democrats voting, 100% of the Republicans said, yes, deport them if they, are caught, arrested for driving under the influence. 150 Democrats said, no, don't. So that's a signal. And to me, the signal is they really need these people, not just want, they need these people here. For whatever the reason is that they need them here. Now, we've got a couple of theories that go on. Why do we have so many of these illegals coming across? What's the real deal? What are they really going to do with them? What's the plan? The question then becomes, okay, they're rushing the border, bringing them in. There are many that are being flown in over the border. You're not even seeing them at the border, right? It's transparent. The planes land in the middle of the night. No one's watching, and it lands all over the country. And we've seen this. We've seen this in New York. We saw this in Long Island, in Chicago, the places that they caught these airplanes coming in 2, 3 in the morning, dropping off these illegals. They're coming in from South America, completely bypassing the border. So you're not even eyes on seeing it. So to think, well, we don't really know how many of these people are in here. The people say 9 million. Some people say 3 million. Some people say 15 million. Some people say 25 million. The truth is we don't know. It's an estimate. It's a guesstimate at best. And the tell here is 150 Democrats saying, we don't want to deport them. Why wouldn't you deport them? They broke the law. They put people's lives at danger. You don't want to deport them? Okay, so you've got an ulterior motive. What is that ulterior motive? We want to know what the ulterior motive is here. We'd love to know what it is. And I think for all of us, we just got to keep asking that question, keep asking that question. Let's keep going down the different channels and figure out what's going on. Now, on Tuesday, we're scheduled to have SG Anon come on, and it's one of the questions I'm going to ask them. Is what do you think is the real reason they want all these migrants up here? Everyone has a different opinion. I want to know what his opinion is, and he's well-researched, probably more so than any of us. Be interesting to see. So we'll find out. Elon Musk, number 6, to transfer Tesla Corporation to Texas after Delaware scammed him out of $50.9 billion. Now, he's been posting, if you've been following this little saga on X, he's been posting and telling corporate leaders who are registered in Delaware, right? A lot of companies are registered in Delaware, to get out because they wouldn't let another friend of his, another billionaire friend of his, transfer their corporation out of Delaware to, I think he wanted to go to Florida. They wouldn't let him do it. So Delaware is playing some games now, and it was always like a tax haven. That's why so many companies register there. So you've got Delaware, Florida, Texas, Nevada, I think are the ones that most people will register in. Why? No corporate state tax and things like that. You can have lower tax rates, and there's all kinds of benefits to doing that. So now Elon is having trouble in Delaware, as many others are starting to experience as well. And he's pulling out, and he's not quiet about it. I love that about Elon. He doesn't take it on the chin. He has a huge megaphone with X. Huge megaphone. I just signed up for X Premium Plus today because I want to see what the other options are, the other things we can do on that platform, because I think there's a lot of value there. There's a lot we can do because, again, that's the megaphone. He's using it. He's got it now. It's in his hands. He's controlling it, and he is going to use it, and Delaware is going to take it on the chin. Not Elon. Yeah, okay, they scammed him out of $50 billion. It's going to cost Delaware a whole lot more than that when a lot of corporations leave. So we'll see. That's an interesting one to keep an eye on. Speaker Johnson, interestingly enough, this makes me laugh a little bit. This guy is hard to follow, but he talked about undermining border security, actually encouraging illegal immigration. Isn't that interesting? So here's a guy, we don't know. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? If anything, he's really soft. He's like a wet noodle. No backbone, right? I don't trust him. A lot of people don't trust him. I get it. And here he is coming up with this and saying, there's 64 instances of the Biden administration undermining border security, encouraging illegal immigration. And he did a 26-minute presentation there on the floor and going over this. Okay, great. What are you building towards? Are you building towards impeachment? Are you building towards, giving yourself some credence for the border bill that we do not need? Even Trump said we don't need it. Just enforce the laws we already have. That's enough. What's the game? Where's he going with that? Why now, when there's a border bill being discussed that basically you and I would call an amnesty bill that would allow 5,000 illegal immigrants a day to come in legally, down from whatever the number is. 5,000 a day in perpetuity? That's pretty serious, right? It gets to the point where, that number is going to add up pretty quickly. 5,000 today, 5,000 tomorrow, it's 25,000 a week. It's 100,000 a month. It's 1.2 million a year. Whoa! Now the number starts to mean something, right? So you look at that, and you can correct me in the chat room. Did I do my math right? 5,000 a day is 1.2 million a year? I don't know. You have to help me on the math there. Doing it on the fly, sometimes I get it wrong. But it's a lot every year going forward forever. This is the bill that they want to advance. So the play is interesting. It doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. It's not, hey, he's losing the noggin up there. It's not working. It's getting worse and worse by the day. It's not a secret, guys. It's not a secret. We see it with our own eyes. We can see what's going on. It's not fun. Let's see. Did I get the numbers right here? I'm looking in the chat room. I didn't see. Don't see anyone correcting my math, so maybe I got it right. But this was kind of interesting. This little meeting that he had with this fellow who's really high up in government. And he was talking about how they want to get rid of Kamala Harris, but the optics don't work. Can't get rid of a multiracial woman, right? The first woman VP. Can't get rid of her. The optics would be horrible. So they don't know what to do. They're caught in a pickle. Well, you know what? They have an ace in the hole with her, though, because she is an anchor baby and not qualified to be president. She doesn't qualify. Her parents, although she was born in California, her parents were here on student visas. They were not American citizens when they had her. In the same way, Nikki Haley's got the same situation. She can never qualify if they follow the rules, because we know with Obama they didn't follow the rules. If they follow the rules, neither Nikki Haley or Kamala Harris would qualify to be president of this country, unless they change the rules, which I haven't seen any talk of. So they have an ace in the hole. They can get rid of her that way. But then it puts them in a little bit of a pickle because, well, wait a minute. How about your buddy Obama there? Not born in this country. Forged birth certificate. It's proven again and again. Interesting, huh? They're in a little bit of a pickle. They've lied themselves into a corner. So we'll see where that one goes. Congress members, and I think this was started by MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, call for Ilhan Omar to be expelled after shocking Somalia allegiance video goes viral. So Ilhan Omar, a refugee from Somalia, comes to America to get away from all the turmoil in her country. She gets the privilege to be elected to Congress. Why? Because the area she lives in is all Somalis, and they're the ones who voted for her. They want one of their own. That's great. That's fine. No problem there. And she comes up and she says, Somalia first in this video. Didn't say anything about America first. It was Somalia first, and that's the rules, that's the laws, that's the thing she's going to be voting for. So now there's calls to censure her, number one, but there's also calls to boot her out completely. Just kick her out of Congress. That would be cool. And probably needs to be done. Look, you want to serve this country and you don't believe in this country. Why are you there? It seems common sense to me, right? We're not Somalia. We're never going to be Somalia. This is America. Very different rules, very different culture, very different values, beliefs, that kind of thing. Why would you do that? Hope it goes through. We'll see. Number two, got to replenish the ammunition. They lose an airplane. They lose a tank. They lose a Jeep. It's got to be replaced. Right? So it creates a nice economy for these companies. A lot of money has to go to them to replace all these things. So Lindsey Graham, you can tell, he's one of those who's getting paid. Clearly he's getting paid, and that's why he wants us to go into Iran. What would that prove really at this point? It's not a play we need to do. There's no real reason. We're not under threat by them. You could say, well, the Houthis in Yemen, yeah. So you go after the Houthis then, if that's the problem. Or you just get the American ships out of the area because they're sitting ducks. Want to expand it away from, you're not hearing much about Israel and Gaza anymore, right? That was dominating the news, and now you just don't hear a whole lot. I haven't heard a story out of there in weeks. Little bits here and there, but really nothing more. Still going on, though. Why aren't we hearing anything more? Because now they're expanding it. That's where it started, and they want to now go and make it bigger. The EU police, European Union police, are going door to door arresting farmers who protested the globalist agenda. Boy, where did we hear this before? This strategy, did they use it on January 6th? Did they go after, are they still going after people who were at January 6th? Yeah, they still are. They're trying to arrest another 1,000 people who didn't even go into the Capitol, who just happened to be on the grounds. Because they ping their cell phone, they've got that information, now they want to go after them. I'm wondering this. If you were there on January 6th, if you get rid of your cell phone and get a new one, can they still track you? Attached to it, can they still track you? Well, or they say, well, that was your phone at that time. Would they still have that information? I don't know. It'd be interesting to look it up and see if there's a way to get around it. If you got rid of the phone completely and didn't have the same phone number, a little inconvenient, but okay. If it throws them off the trail, then that might be a good thing. But now the EU police is doing the same thing. And here's what's interesting. In France, they arrested a grand total of 17. There's that number. 17 farmers were arrested in France. Why only a small number? Because the thinking goes as it happened here in January 6th. 2 million people showed up. They arrested about 900 initially. It's probably about 1,500 now that have been arrested. And they have a list of another 1,000. But still, even if you think about 2,000 people out of a crowd of 2 million, and look what it's done in this country. It's caused people to stand down, not to gather, not to protest. Same as it's done in Canada. They went after the trucker convoy in Canada in 21, right? So many Canadians were standing up, and that thing was just going and going and going, and it was getting bigger and bigger. And then they brought in the troops, and they shut it all down. They scared everyone. They shut down their bank accounts. They put people in jail. They did the same thing we did here in January 6th. And now you're not seeing any protests up there. Everyone's kind of, okay, we better not do it. We're going to get in trouble. So somehow this works. Sadly, it does. And it's no fun to see it working that way, but that's the way it works. All right. I want to just mention screwbiggov.com. If you haven't gone over there, please go to screwbiggov.com. We are privileged and blessed to be able to stream on Lewis's channel today, and we will be streaming on Lewis's channel tomorrow as we bring you the convoy, some of the presentations from the convoy as well. Go check out screwbiggov. Rememberyouroath.com is there. Cages is there. Freedom in Action, where you can find out what you can do locally, and his social media links are there. If you want to find him, if you haven't found him yet on Telegram, please go do that. And also the swag button is there. And if you want to email me, not follow, but email me, robert@renegademedia.tv. Or you can look up Renegade Media on Telegram, where I post a lot of the good stuff there as well. Bruce's email, brucepoppy@switch-usa.com. If you want to email Bruce and give him a piece of your mind, let him know what you're doing, support the man. He's out on the road doing some amazing things. Certainly send him some emails, send him some support. He's on his own dime doing all he can do to be helping our country out. And he's doing a great job, by the way. He's a trooper. He's struck out on his own from Texas to Yuma. The convoy's not with him at the moment. He's sort of on his own going in there. He's going to get in, but he's going to meet everyone there in Yuma. So it's not necessarily, the convoy that's important. It's the rallies, and Yuma's going to be big. There's a lot of people from our group that are going to be down there. I'll be here. I'll be here manning the stream, and we're going to start at 9 a.m. Pacific tomorrow, which is 12 noon East Coast time. So if you're on the East Coast, 12 noon, look for it on this channel, Renegade Media, Screw Big Gov. We're going to try to also stream on Grassroots Warrior Network, and just a matter of making sure we have multiple channels in case there's a glitch or something. You can hop from channel to channel, but certainly Screw Big Gov will be the main channel that you'll want to go to find the streams that we'll be doing tomorrow. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. The protest, the convoy, what's going on with it? That is really cool. I'm going to give you an opinion. This is an opinion. This is not fact. This is an opinion. This is my hope. My hope is that it doesn't just go to the end of the day tomorrow and then it ends. That would be bad. That would be, we did something, but not enough. My hope is that this is a catalytic event. That's a catalyst that will spark other events. It will spark more people to get into action, especially when they realize, hey, look, we were able to do this and nothing happened. Nobody got thrown in jail. Nobody got arrested, right? That'd be really cool. And you could start to see, when it started in Virginia Beach, that we talked about with Bruce earlier, there was like 8 cars, very small. And then went to Jacksonville, Florida. That's where Bruce joined it. And it got a little bit bigger. And by the time they got out of Florida, I think they were at 100 plus cars. And, the thing's been growing. And it's been really interesting to watch it grow. And it's much bigger now. And you're going to see tomorrow will be kind of the pinnacle of it. It will be the peak of the thing. And you're going to see 3 different rallies, one in San Ysidro, California, which is right on the border here with Mexico. And you're going to see the other one in Yuma, which is just a couple of miles from the Mexican border, and also in Texas. They're about 30 miles from Eagle Pass. They didn't want to go into Eagle Pass because of all the things that are going on there. So they'll be a few miles from that. Now, while good, check it off, good. My opinion is it could be better, right? Here's how it could be better. More of us need to be participating in it any way we can. And it doesn't have to be this convoy. We can create our own convoys. We could create a small group, 10, 12 people standing on a corner with American flags in whatever city you live in. Hey, we're going to go to the mall Saturday from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Bring your flags, bring your patriot gear. We're just going to do that. We saw a lot of this when Ron Paul was running. You remember when Ron Paul was running? They would put together small little groups. I was part of a group. We met at the local bookstore, Barnes & Noble. They didn't like us, so they kicked us out eventually. But we met there, and we planned, and we figured out we're going to be on this street corner on this day. Then this day we're going to be on that street corner. And we did that kind of thing, and it was really good. It was really helpful. Got the message out, got the message across. Holding signs, holding flags, people waving, honking their horns is getting attention. We need to do that. You can't get arrested for doing that. That's legal in all 50 states. So we need to be able to do that. So I'm hoping that there's a catalyst that will start to do that here. And what we're seeing, and it's really interesting, I'm going to skip that slide there. Let's go over to this one. And I want to share with you the story that is probably the most important story of any story we've covered all week. This is the most important story by far. Eclipses everything. Countries that have now joined the farmer protests: Netherlands, Scotland, Germany, France, Poland, Belgium, Lithuania, Romania, Greece, and today Italy and also Ireland have been added to that list. Now, why is this important? I'm saying this is important. This is the most important thing ever. You might say, it's the European Union. Building in Brussels. They're the head of the European Union. Surrounded by farmers. They've got fire hoses trying to keep them down. They didn't budge. There's more of them showing up today. The protest is getting bigger, not smaller. And it's not just the farmers. It's also the truckers. And now what happened in France was really fascinating. The civilians joined in. Now you've got the farmers who started it. You got the truckers who joined it. Joined it for a different reason, but they joined it. And now you got the civilians uprising as well. Complete turmoil. Completely shut down. France is having some challenges. Look at this. Empty shelves. This is what the stores look like in France. Now, I'll tell you something I saw a video of, that the farmers were going to the truckers who had all the produce from the farms headed to grocery stores, and they were taking it out and they were just destroying it and dragging it onto the street and running over it with their tractors. And I thought, well, it's probably not the smartest thing to do, because who you're hurting aren't the leaders, because they're going to get fed no matter what. They're well taken care of and well insulated. Who you're hurting is your fellow citizen. The stores don't have any food, right? But what it's doing, and maybe this is the strategy, what it's doing is woke up a lot of people, because they're like, we can't have this. We can't have empty shelves. We need to eat. You're threatening our livelihood. And where does the energy go? Does it go after the farmers? No. The anger is going toward leadership. So there was a story that came across on X. I have not confirmed it. But apparently in France, if this is true, this is a win, massive win. The government's backing down. And they said the farmers are packing up and they're heading home. If true, I only saw one tweet on that just before it went live. If that's true, guys, we can celebrate that pressure works. And we're going to need to see that here in this country. We're going to need to get to that point. And that's what I'm hoping this convoy starts to do for us, that it starts to bring us in that direction. We can be together and we can be strong, and we could draw that line in the sand too and say, no more, the buck stops here. We're shutting down the border. We're deporting all these people who are here that should not be here, that have no right to be here, instead of issuing millions of dollars in debit cards to them, which are doing in New York, right? Of course, they're doing that. Why are they doing that? Well, because if these people aren't eating, then they're going to be violent, and they're going to be robbing and stealing and raping and pillaging, right? So they don't want that. So they figure, well, this is the way around it, is to just pay them off. But that's only going to go so far. You don't have enough money to keep paying them and keep paying and keep paying them. So it's a Band-Aid to a problem that needs to be solved at its root. And you and I know what that root is. And that is why this convoy is really important. Now you might think, oh, I don't know. Maybe it's not enough. Yeah, maybe it isn't enough. Maybe you're right about that. But I got to tell you something. The spark that it's lit already, that I'm already seeing, people are waking up. People are changing their tune. Look at this Dr. Drew clip we played for you earlier, right? People are seeing that and they're going, this isn't right anymore. When the problem lands in your lap, it becomes important. When it's not in your lap, when it's down the street, it's in the next town over or another state, it's easy to ignore. When it shows up on your front porch, though, whoo, not so easy to ignore, right? And I think that's where we're headed. We're seeing more and more of it on our front stoop because we can't ignore it anymore. It's just there. And then it's going to get a lot more of us to wake up. So this event becomes important. And if you look at what's happening over in France, if you look at what's happening over in many of the European nations right now, the uprising is getting to a point where it's out of control. It's country after country after country. There's another one, right? They're jumping in. The whole thing is crashing. It's crashing down in itself. So the question then becomes, where do we go from there? Well, let's see what happens. If the French government is backing off, we'll see. I don't know. Macron was in Sweden. He was at some posh black tie event in a tuxedo yesterday, as his country is on fire, literally on fire. It's crazy. But there are police out there in France handing out cookies to the protesters. This is in Brussels. So if I look at that, what do I see? I see there's a break, right? There's a breakdown, and there are police on the front lines who are meant to keep these guys out that are actually in support of them. Why? Because they're neighbors. They know each other. They come from the same areas. They believe the same things. Oh, I'm wearing a uniform and you're not, but that's the only difference. So the signs say, we're going to feed you in the future. They're not wrong about that. It's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cute that they're supporting probably their parents or neighbors that are involved in this. So everyone's in. And we got to get to that point here in America. This is the point I'm trying to make. We have to get to the point where all of us are in on this and forget the nonsense. They're a Democrat. I'm a Republican. We can't have a conversation. Guys, we want the same darn things. We want the same things. We do. Ask anybody on the other side doesn't believe what you believe. They want the same things. Do they want all this illegal immigration? No, nobody wants this. Do they want increased crime? No, nobody's voting for that. Do they want their kids indoctrinated? Some may be okay with it. Maybe they don't care as much. Maybe they don't really know what it means. But for the most part, parents are no, we don't want that. We want to bring our kids up the way we were brought up. We want them to understand what we understand, believe what we believe. And that's okay. I like that. That's fine. So when you really break it down, the Republican-Democrat thing is just a construct so we fight against each other. Some people are on the other side. Some people are globalists. We get it. You're not going to save everyone. There are going to be some that you're never going to shift no matter what. But let's find those places where we can make those bridges, and let's build more bridges rather than blowing up the bridges, what's been happening in the past few years. And we'll find really rapidly that a lot more will come over to our side, if you will, or at least we'll meet them somewhere in the middle. And then all these globalists won't have the power that they have right now because they have a lot of power. They have power because we're divided and we're weak. And we're fighting amongst each other instead of coming together. I've told you this before. I tell you again. I don't hold back talking politics with anybody. Sitting in a restaurant 2 weeks ago, guy comes, sits next to us. We're sitting at the bar, having breakfast, with no drink, certainly, but he sat at the bar and he just struck up a conversation. So I said, what do you think about Newsom? Bam, right into a conversation. I hate Newsom. We got into a conversation. All of a sudden realized he's not necessarily a Republican, but he's very clear on what's not working. No argument. Just a nice conversation. He took my phone number, said he was going to give me a call. We're going to have lunch one day. Great. Fabulous. So you need not fear, right? Those people who aren't going to listen, can't be swayed, don't worry about them. They'll figure it out on their own. When the pain gets high enough, people sort of wake up, right? When the pain lands in their lap, they kind of wake up. Until then, it's somebody else's problem. Don't bother me, man. I don't want to know nothing. And I think that's really what
we can intervene between me and God. Any questions?
Any questions, my friends? None whatsoever. I love the fact Ted Nugent was there. You saw Sarah Palin there as well. Quite a few names that we would recognize that were at the events. And we're going to see a lot of that tomorrow. There'll be more events in Texas. That same, I believe that they're near Eagle Pass. Maybe not the exact same location. That may have been Dripping Springs, Texas. But you're going to be treated to a lot tomorrow in Texas and Yuma. And San Ysidro, I think, is going to be a smaller event there. And what they're going to do from there is they're going to leave and they're all going to head to Yuma. So they'll be in Yuma. It's about three and a half hour drive from San Diego. It's a straight shot along Interstate 8 to get out there. So I think that's what they're going to do. So we'll be streaming the content that will be coming out of San Ysidro tomorrow morning. I'll be starting here 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 noon for you guys on the East Coast. And, we'll be bringing you as many of the feeds as we possibly can. We'll be switching through the Rumble feeds. We're trying to get some direct feeds from Yuma, and we're working on that tonight. And it's a little bit chaotic, as you know. Not everyone's on site yet. They're sort of en route. They're going to get there, and then we'll figure it all out. It's possible that we'll be figuring it out after we've already gone live. So we're going to make sure that we bring you the best content we can from there. Certainly, I want to bring a lot of the presentations. There's a lot of people who are going to speak, including Lewis. Lewis is one of the speakers. Michael Jaco will be there, and he'll be one of the speakers as well. And there's quite a list of people who are going to be presenting, and they're going to be, really talking about what it's going to take to bring back this country, get this country back under control. It is not going to happen from our leadership. It is not going to happen there. Sorry. We can't wait for that to happen. We know law enforcement, maybe a lot of good guys in there. Maybe they want to do what they want to do, but their hands are tied and they can't, they can't, maybe the better way of positioning it is saying they won't step out of line. Maybe they should be stepping out of line, but they're not going to at this point until maybe they see enough of us stepping up and they see the convoys growing and the rallies growing. And hopefully, like I said, this leads to more and we could do things on our side and we could do more of these rallies locally in our own communities. That would be really, really good to really show people what's going on. And certainly when we get to that point, we're going to hit a tipping point sooner as we continue to do that. So we got this, guys. We really, really do. And I want to thank you all for being part of our show today and hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I don't feel so alone. I got friends here. This is kind of cool. Been watching the chat room a little on and off as I could here. Master Baggy in there and certainly Joey is always in there, and you guys are having a good time in the chat room. If you're not in the chat room, please join us in the chat room and get to know, make some new friends and make some new connections and see who's where that you could put together and maybe get some Zoom calls going and start to create little groups, because this kind of thing is what it's going to take in order to take our country back. It's not going to happen with, just a few of us stepping up over here and nobody else doing anything. It's a combined effort. It's all of us. I do a little bit, you do a little bit, Bruce does a little bit, Lewis does a little bit, everyone does a little bit, and it starts to become a bigger and bigger ball of power. And we've got to create that if we want to turn things around, which we do. We do. We don't want it to go the way it's going. We're on a bullet train toward communism right now, and we got to get off this thing. We've got to stop it. It's gotten way too much momentum, and we need to knock the wheels off this thing and crash it before it crashes the entire country. All right. I have one final